Hello, y'all. Happy July 21st. This is Gorgeous Response, and I am Gorgeous. Thank you for tuning in. I hope y'all have a good Sunday out there. And, if you go to church and, you praise the Lord and you see Jesus and you need him in your life, or, you just enjoy his companionship. I truly hope you have a superb service on today. And everybody else, whatever you do on Sunday, do what you do. I'm just coming at y'all today because I have to respond to the news in which we have American rapper A$AP Rocky, who is incarcerated at this present moment in Sweden due to a fight apparently that he had, in which he and his backup dancers or people that were in his squad, if you will, including his bodyguard, got into with a civilian in Sweden. I guess they were attending a festival or what have you. But apparently A$AP Rocky and a few of his people on his team had, an altercation, and they got into a fisticuff, apparently in the street somewhere in Sweden, in which A$AP Rocky did in fact turn himself in to the Swedish police, and he has been in the Swedish police custody, or prison custody rather, since the early part of July. Now, as I just mentioned, today is the 21st, so that will make about 3 weeks we have Mr. A$AP Rocky in jail in Sweden. Now, I'll tell you that I haven't heard any of A$AP Rocky's music. And I call myself a pretty big hip hop fan, a pretty big rap fan. I do like a lot of rap, but I haven't really got tuned in on A$AP Rocky just as of yet. Now I'm doing this video, so I might go and catch a few of his songs on one of the music streaming apps, but not really too much I know about A$AP Rocky. And but apparently a lot of people do know a lot about A$AP Rocky, and apparently a lot of people are fans of his. He definitely has a lot of supporters, so much so that they have basically called or contacted members of the President of the United States and his team, be it Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, I guess Puffy, a few, including I think Jada Pickett, and a lot of people apparently are trying to get A$AP Rocky released from the Swedish jail, and they've contacted the President of the United States, as I mentioned, and his people to see what the president can do to get A$AP Rocky out of jail in Sweden and back into the United States. The president did mention on yesterday, or was it a couple of days ago, that I believe it was yesterday, that a lot of people have been reaching out to him via social media, and everybody knows, of course, the president is a hawk when it comes to social media. He can't, it's a drug. But they've been reaching out to the President of the United States on social media about A$AP Rocky, and the fact that he's been in jail for as I mentioned, about 3 weeks, and seeing what the president can do to get him out. Including apparently the First Lady of the United States, who I don't know if she listens to any of A$AP Rocky's music or what have you, but as the president mentioned, she's the one that basically brought it to his attention first about A$AP Rocky. But the president of the United States apparently he said the process has gotten started, which he was mentioning about reaching out to the very talented, as he likes to stroke people's egos, not only heads of state, he does it to everybody. He said he's reaching out to the very talented Prime Minister of Sweden to see if they can work something out about getting A$AP Rocky out of jail. So yeah, and the thing about this issue right here is it appears that A$AP Rocky and his camp, who had gotten into the altercation, because there is video footage of the altercation and as well the time prior to the altercation, in which you could see the antagonism that was going on about by the individual who, for all intents and purposes, essentially got his ass beat. You can see the time leading up to that, as the individual was, clearly antagonizing the hell out of A$AP Rocky and A$AP Rocky's camp. And you can see A$AP telling them, hey, dude, we don't want no problems, chill, back. And the dude just kept on following. I don't know if the guy was drunk, some Caucasian guy. He appeared to be anyhow. I don't know if he was drunk or he was high on what, who knows. But the guy was pumped up, and he was pumped up on getting A$AP's attention, and that's what he did. And he basically got his ass kicked for doing it. And but he ended up walking scot-free. There were apparently no charges, and you can clearly see the video footage clearly shows the guy antagonizing the hell out of A$AP in his camp, but there were no charges brought against this guy, and he did not get any jail time. Only A$AP Rocky and apparently two of his backup guys got the jail time, in which they still are in Swedish custody. So I don't know what's up with that. It didn't really look good to me. You haven't peeked out the footage, you may want to check it out. But it didn't really look like right to me, because the guy should be in jail. If A$AP and his crew was in jail, that guy right there should definitely be in jail. But like I said, apparently he's not. And they won't let A$AP go because, apparently, Swedish officials, police officials say, they deem him as a flight risk. So don't really know what's up right there. Why won't they release the guy? It's not like the guy had to go to the hospital after getting his ass beat. He just got his ass beat, basically, and apparently he was cool after that. He came across, I don't know why. Was he drunk? Was he a racist? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the hell was up with the guy. But at any rate, back in the United States, we have people, like I said, trying to vouch for A$AP, and people with ties to the president's of the United States campaign and his administration, reaching out, celebrities, large celebrities reaching out, trying to get the president to strike a deal and get A$AP back home. On the other side of the fence, you have people that are bringing up some old stuff that happened in about 2015, 2016, in which A$AP Rocky, in an interview with, I forget what, who the interviewer was, but he, in an interview, was asked a question, what basically did he think about the, Ferguson, Missouri situation, in which you had apparently a teenage black kid that got gunned down by a police officer. And, for all, intents and purposes, essentially the situation looked foul, in which the officer had no right to shoot the black kid. Apparently the kid was unarmed. So A$AP Rocky was asked questions by the interviewer, what exactly did he think about Ferguson, Missouri, and Black Lives Matter in general, in which, Rocky stated that, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, he stated basically that he didn't really care. He didn't give a what. He said that he was not from Ferguson. He didn't live in Ferguson. He said that he lived in Soho, Beverly Hills, and he's in these studios, he's in these hose drawers, and he can't really relate to Michael Brown getting gunned down unarmed by a police officer who was indeed Caucasian. A$AP said he couldn't really relate to that because, he's, living in Soho in Beverly Hills. You ain't got to worry about that. So yeah, people are now bringing that up, now that it appears that Mr. A$AP Rocky has been a victim of himself of, perhaps some type of racism. Everybody know that Sweden is all white. Sweden's like 98.9% white. Like one of the whitest places on earth is Nordic. And so, apparently, people are voicing their opinions about, other people who are supporting A$AP Rocky and trying to get him out of jail, feel like he is, wrongly in jail at the present, now that it's been going on 3 weeks. And the other guy who basically instigated and started the whole scuffle has not been incarcerated. So, you got the other people that's saying, they ain't never been to Sweden before. So, A$AP Rocky being in jail, they can't really relate. So, and they talking about, the universe is, full of karma. They can't relate to this. They're basically, busting back at A$AP for what he said in 2016. Also, he said he's not a political activist, and he ain't Al Sharpton. And he really went off when the guy had asked him about the Ferguson, Missouri situation. And it didn't seem warranted the way he went off. So a lot of that is being brought back up now by people who are familiar, with the situation in which Rocky, went off like that. And it's kind of funny because, obviously for A$AP Rocky to say something like that about, the Ferguson, Missouri situation was just pure, uncut, and raw, unadulterated ignorance. Like, He was just flat out ignorant. Like he didn't know what the heck he was saying. He was just spouting off. Like that's it. I mean, but I will remind people in 2000, and this is not a defense for ASAP Rocky. I don't want anybody to misconstrue this. I'm not defending ASAP Rocky for what he said about the Ferguson, Missouri Michael Brown situation. But what I am saying is that in 2016 and also 2015, I think he made some pretty controversial statements as well in terms of police brutality on blacks and black kids. I want to also remind people that in 2016, 2015, that ASAP Rocky was 27 and 26 years old, respectively. And the reality of the situation is, I mean, he's a young black kid. He's from Harlem, and he's in his mid-20s. You know what I'm saying? He's got some money. He's got some fame. He's feeling himself. Obviously, on another level, just feeling himself, right? So he was immature. He was ignorant. I mean, again, I'm not defending what he said. What he said was, like I said, it was just, the only way you can say what he said about the Ferguson situation is that it was just purely ignorant. Like, it was stupid and it was ignorant. But at the same time, he was in his mid-20s when he said that. He's 30 years old now. So, people mature late. And, especially when you're young and you black and you from the hood and you get some money in your hand, you get some fame. Not really educated. People, let's put it in context as well. Give him the business. Give him the business because he deserved the business, right? But at the same time, let's put it in context. He was younger and he was immature. Now he may be the same way today as well, but we'll see if this experience, now affects his, way of thinking differently in terms of the way that the police treat young blacks and blacks in general in the city streets and in the urban areas of our country. We'll see if he has a change of heart on those statements he made a few years ago, now that he has his own experience. Now that he has his own experience, with a little Caucasian, animus and, injustice. And we'll see if ASAP Rocky has different comments this time go around. But the President of the United States has said that he is, gunning and shooting for the release of ASAP Rocky, as he has talked with the Sweden Prime Minister, who he called a very talented man. So, the President of the United States is, working his jelly and try to get ASAP Rocky back on the soil. And we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see, what ASAP. I can't wait for somebody to put a microphone in his face. Put a microphone in his face when he gets out. When he's come back, because they're gonna do it. They're gonna put microphones in his face. They're gonna ask him, if he had a change of heart about police brutality, about white race, racism, against blacks and so forth. They're gonna, we'll see what type of comments come out of his mouth this go around. So I just wanted to drop that on y'all early this morning, and y'all have a superb Sunday, and I'll get back with y'all later. This is Gorgeous Response, and I am Gorgeous.